Okay. I am calling the January, gosh, I'm losing track of time, January 16th, 2024 meeting of the Akron Tree Commission to order. Will you please take the roll, Ms. Viviano?
Mr. Aiken,
Aye.
Ms. Viviano, here. Mr. Fusco,
Here.
Ms. Vredenberg,
Here.
and Ms. Wyatt.
Here.
All members are present.
Great. Everybody have a chance to read the minutes?
I did.
Okay, any additions or otherwise comments? Okay.
Motion to approve?
Yep.
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Aiken,
Aye.
Viano, aye. Mr. Fusco,
Aye.
Ms. Vredenberg,
Aye.
and Ms. Wyatt. The motion
Okay.
to approve the minutes passes 5-0.
Okay, great. We have two items of business on the agenda. One is an update on our public education strategy. I know we talked a bit about this the last time, and I apologize. I have to juggle. My printer doesn't work, so I don't have my notes from last time strictly at hand. However, I know we talked about getting tree facts into water bills. And Jim, you would probably be the best person to tell us how we would go about doing that. And even if it's possible, I don't know. I mean, about how many bills are still mailed out?
That's a good question. I would. Give me a minute, I'll find out.
Okay. Because part of the question would be, is it worth it? Because if most of the bills are being mailed out online, I don't know how we would do that.
She didn't answer. I texted her. Let's see if we could move on if you want. Let me see if I
Okay.
get an answer, okay?
Okay. One of the other things, I was looking at our goals, and one of the other things was get a speakers bureau going. And where did they go? It doesn't matter. I guess part of the actually, let me back up. Because one of the things that we did talk about last meeting was contacting council members. And I thought what might be a good thing is for each of us to start with our own ward councilman. I have a new one, I know that. Patricia, you're in, I can't remember the, Nick, what is the?
We did our, I'm in, we did ours already, the last time we spoke. Ward
Okay.
2, yeah. Thanks.
Okay, Ward 2, yeah.
So we did the first speaking in my ward. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Sarah, I know you don't live in the city. And Jim, you probably know your ward councilman pretty well.
The new one?
Or not. Hmm?
The new one? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's actually my next door neighbor, so I see him all the time.
Okay, that's handled. So I guess mine is the only one. Although John Hilkert, have you had any contact with your councilman?
No, I don't live in the city either.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're handled. And Jeff, I suppose you could consider yourself your ward councilman, or I don't know, what ward are you in? When I first moved to Akron, you were in Ward 1 and Patricia would have been in Ward 10, and I don't know who's in what ward anymore.
Yeah, I'm currently in Ward 1. If you'd like, I can reach out, or Sarah or both of us, to our colleagues and ask them if they would consider scheduling, us into one of their meetings, and who's ever open can probably handle it.
Nope, that probably would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, we could, they could request, we could, like I said, any one of us, I would assume, could do that.
Mhm.
Provide that all the information that we have. Handouts. We have handouts now, right? I believe.
We never did finish that pamphlet. We got it to Stephanie, and I don't think I've seen anything since. So, okay, that's something for me to do.
We roughly send out 85,000 bills a month.
Okay. Okay. And you don't have to answer this right now, Jim, but if we could find out the mechanism for getting information, coming up with tree facts is absolutely no problem. So if you could find out how we can do that, I mean, you still have a budget, right? Pardon?
If we could still insert something in the monthly bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Jeff,
did you say, do we have a budget?
well, I was just asking Jeff that because he seems to know more about that than any of us do. I've never seen a budget even, let alone.
Well, yeah, for 24, I don't believe we have one.
No.
Okay.
No.
What do we need in order to get one?
Well, I think to put together a proposal or something budget wise, in terms of, what it is that we'd like to spend money on. I think that's where we fell down last time, because we had set aside like 25,000 or something.
Right.
I think we spent just a little bit of it on t-shirt. Yeah. So, but like I said, if we have a specific proposal in mind, a specific, spend in mind, budget season is coming up. And it may not be able to make it in the budget right now, but if we have a specific idea in mind that we like, I would say that's what we have to do, is formalize that and then request that be put in the budget.
And would we do that through you, Jeff? Proposal.
Jim or me, or
it has to go to council.
Well, the budget's coming to council and it's probably 99% prepared, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not in the administration side. I don't think it's coming in till March, maybe.
I want
to
say
right?
March. I want to say March.
Yeah. So if we have a specific amount right now, we could request it. And as a body, you know what I'm saying? And then see if we get it or not. It's that simple. That's the way it goes. So if we have a specific amount, if it's pretty low though, we can beg, or we can, go on hat in hand and bended knee and request,
I want us to take a little bit better attitude toward ourselves, because we are an important part of the city, even though we might not necessarily be treated that way. And I think for us to go in hat in hand says, well, we're just this little group over here. And the fact of the matter is that trees are really important and the city invests a lot of money. So I don't want us to take a, you know, we apologize for existing stance, you know?
And neither do I. But again, like I said, we had money before, we didn't spend it. So I think that's what they're going to look at.
Hey.
And to be honest with you, whenever people put numbers on paper, tax dollars, they say, did they spend it or not? You know, do they have a specific proposal or not? And if we don't have a specific proposal and we ask, then, you know, that doesn't work.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I could check with Mr. Fricker just to see, because last time to get the shirts, he said, how much do you need? It wasn't like, because I said the 25 that was set aside,
Yeah.
or it went somewhere else. So if we need something, yeah. But I could check and see if he's going to put it in the budget this year.
Okay.
An
Okay.
amount for us.
Yeah, I think the bulk of it would be in printed material that would go on the water bills. And then the pamphlets that we had made up. And I can't think of anything else at this point, but then we're just getting started this year. So, you know, I'm not quite sure, especially with 85,000 pieces going out monthly. You know, what that would be. So if you could talk to him and find out
Yep.
what the process is.
Okay.
And I know Stephanie's still in place, so we can kind of pick up where we left off. Okay, pamphlets. Okay. Okay. Um, okay. And John, this might be something for you to check with John Malish. I know one of our standing goals will always be every year planning of the Arbor Day celebration. And by my calendar, that's on a Monday this year. April 29th is on a Monday. And I don't know if that's something we want to celebrate Arbor Day on the day, or do we want to celebrate Arbor Day like on the Friday before? Because it seems to me we've had them on Fridays.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll check with him on that. I'm not
Okay.
sure. He didn't mention anything about that, but a couple other things though that he did bring up.
Okay.
Is as of now, we're going to be working real soon here on a planning list for the spring.
Okay.
And that's the contractor, excuse me, that contract will renew. So this will be a new contract for the planning.
Okay.
And so he wants to get a list together for spring for planting. So when we do, we'll make sure that we get that wherever the trees are going, we'll make sure that every ward has a notification of these trees are going in your ward and this is, where they're going to go. So,
Okay.
and then we're also going to try to get after that. We're going to try to work on the master plan for the city.
Okay.
Plan. And so currently we're also waiting to hear back on, I think it's $1 million grant for a city arborist. John put in for a permanent position for city arborist in that grant. And then also the software that will start updating our tree inventory.
Okay.
This is probably not the best way to explain it, but it looks like the Google Earth car. If you've ever seen the Google Earth car going down the road with the camera on the top, it's kind of a very high-tech version of that. So it's able to actually see all the trees in real time. And it uses AI to get different, things on the tree, like as far as the size, where it's at in relation in the devil strip. It'll put an actual pinpoint of where it's sitting. So, it pulls up the species, it pulls up quite a few things. So once we have that, I think his intention is to try to send it through the city twice a year to try to keep a up-to-date inventory.
Okay,
So that'll be under that other grant. We're just waiting to hear back. He already put in for it. So we're just waiting to hear back from it.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the grants that we put in a letter of support for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So, I think that's about all, but I will ask him about Arbor Day, see how he wants to proceed with that.
yeah. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, because last year we were transferred from one part of the Ohio State Forest Department of Forestry from one district into another. I don't know if it got too big or whatever, but this year is our opportunity, I'm fairly sure, will be to go like to Tree College. I know John Malish talked about this when we first got started and, you know, suggested it's a very good thing for us to do. And so I guess I want to put that kind of top of mind so that when it does come, the invitation does come, that at least a couple of us can go so that we can share it with our other members. I know John said he thought it was he learned things. And I would think as an arborist, he would know most of what there is to know about trees. So if he learns a lot, we could learn a whole lot. So that's in the public education opportunities. And I don't know of other educational opportunities, although I do know that I get notices from the state of Ohio, most often Ohio State, because that's who Master Gardeners is affiliated with. But they, on occasion, will have seminars, and they call it forest stewards. And so I guess what I'm saying is I will do my best to make you all aware of those opportunities. You know, everybody has jobs and has other things they need to do. So I guess there wouldn't be any we can't make things mandatory anyway, but just a suggestion that because I usually try to go to those things. But any of the rest of you might find them interesting. You know, you could join me. Okay. Well,
I can check into Tree Commission Academy is what it's called.
okay.
And it is very good. I went through it. A lot of the stuff that they talk about in there is stuff for, you know, down the road. If you know, like I am a certified arborist, so a lot of that came into play. It kind of overlapped. Tree risk assessment, a lot of it kind of overlaps in it. Some of that does, but it's very good. So I'll find out. And
Okay.
you know, when we find out it's in the area, maybe I can let everybody know.
Okay. Tree Commission Academy.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could find out cost on both of any of these too. That could help us put together a budget.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think these would be hugely expensive, but it would be nice to have some money that we can rely on. You know, ballpark 10,000, although printing costs I do know are going up. Okay, so we have I guess our goals kind of going off what we had last year. We're going to move forward on the tree fact, and Jim's going to get me some facts on how that handles. And getting more contact out in the city, dealing, being invited to city council meetings. Jeff, if you would like, I could write a letter to Margot, and offer our participation, then she can let the other members of council know, and then I guess we take it from there. Does that make sense? Rather
Yeah,
than
but
making you be
what would the messaging be on for specifically, just to let them know what we're up to, or like a update, or?
Well, after our last experience, I would hate to go anywhere without John Hilkert. He saved our bacon. So, and I suppose it's incumbent on us actually to learn more about what these guys do, so that we're not caught so much off guard. Those are some of the details that I suppose we need to get. Do you agree, John?
Yeah, yeah, I think you're in reference to
All those complaints we got about the
yeah,
and I know that we can't promise anybody anything, but it would be nice to know the process and what recourse people have.
right, yeah, that would be good, and that way I think you can avoid a lot of phone calls and a lot of issues, with that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be honest, the first quarter is very busy typically with council, especially, lately we have budgets we're going to be reviewing toward the end of the month. And then in March, we'll have the operating budget, which consumes a lot of time. But if it's a good exchange and just, bringing coming into the Public Service Committee whenever there's not a whole lot scheduled, which happens sometimes, you don't want to be there whenever there's a ton of stuff on the agenda, because then an adequate amount of time isn't really necessarily dedicated toward a good discussion. So it's kind of like, I would say, summer for sure. May, maybe June, July, in that range would be a good time.
Well, ideally, it would be nice for us to at least start this before the trees start going in. Because then we'll be dealing with, and particularly once, John, you guys get the list, to pinpoint those wards that would be most effective. I know last year, John Malish wanted to target the disadvantaged underserved neighborhoods. And I don't know if that criteria still applies. But that would be helpful for us to know so that we can be a little proactive.
What's the dates? What are we talking about approximately?
Well, John knows what those dates are. You said you were getting together to do the spring list.
Yeah, probably sometime March, April, roughly would be my guess. Provided everything goes through in the budget and, that it all gets approved. As long as it does, then generally I think it's around March. It carries into April sometimes.
The planting?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think the capital budget's due the second week, I think, or so. Sarah Biviano knows probably off the top of her head. I don't remember, but it's due relatively soon. And if you're talking about March, sometime in March, I guess if you want to stuff it in and try to, in February, possibly the end of February, I guess we could try, and hopefully just get lucky and catch an easy Monday, which isn't common.
Yeah. Okay. And what I'm hearing then is the tree planting falls under the capital budget as opposed to operational budget.
Yeah, for the actual trees themselves, the acquisition of the trees, that's a capital item. But then again, I would believe that a tree commission type request would fall into the operating budget.
Okay.
So that's the difference between the two.
Well, I wasn't asking so much about our budget, although that's a good piece of information. It was more, where we're timelines and where we need to focus our attention. That was it. Okay. So I will get these typed up with a little bit more detail on our goals for this year, and then I will get them out to everybody. And as far as I can tell, on our agenda, that looks to be about it. Is there anything else for the good of the order for today?
No, I'll shoot you an email if I get any answers from Mr. Fricker or the
Okay.
minutes, okay?
Okay, great. Well, hearing no other business, I declare the meeting adjourned at 1:59 on January 16th. Thank you all. Good to see you again after the first of the year.
Have a good afternoon. Stay warm.
Good afternoon.
As much as I can. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.